Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more.
I hate that song so much. I hate that song so much. Anyway,
Why did you play it too many times? Did you play it as a cover too many times?
oh, oh.
Woo! Let's just start the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Anti Shuffle podcast, your local source for the international and, well, your source for local and international news in the alternative and metal scene. I'm one of your co hosts here. My name is Abdullah. And with me, as well, as always, Mr. the one and only Mr. Mansour.
أهلا وسهلا. What's up?
Mansour, how are you feeling this week?
Much better, thank you. I'm somewhat 95% recovered. Alhamdulillah. So good.
95%. That's pretty high.
Yeah. Yep.
That's more than a passing grade. So that's good. So today's episode is going to be pretty short and sweet, huh? Where we don't really have much to talk about, but we have a couple of songs and things that we've been listening to, and we're going to talk a little bit about some news as well. But otherwise, we're gonna keep it short and simple this week. Inshallah, next week we'll have a guest, and it'll be a richer and more in depth episode. But yeah, let's just see how it goes. Let's see how this short and sweet format goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll keep it interesting for you guys. No worries.
Yeah, we'll try to do that. So without any further ado, all right, dude. I think you shared this piece of news, and I feel like I've seen an interview where Matt Heafy talked about this, where he was like incessantly bullied by people in the scene. But yeah, this is
Mm.
interesting. We paid 30,000 to get bullied like we were in high school. Matt Heafy says Trivium was bullied by Ozfest crew after refusing to egg Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
The story that I heard, the interview that I saw, was him talking about how, you know what, I'm gonna misremember this, but it was something along the lines of how like the other bands on the bill, because he was new and he was young at that point. Everybody was hating on him and everybody was bullying him. So it seems like this is something that he had to put up with for a very long time, huh?
Yeah. So the backstory is this. Back in 2000 in the 2005 version of Ozfest, when Iron Maiden was headlining, there
Damn.
was some tension between Iron Maiden and the Aussie camp because the Iron Maiden's front band Bruce Dickinson was kind of dissed the Osbournes for their the then TV show,
The live,
which was
yeah,
super
the
popular.
reality show.
The reality show. I don't know what he said exactly. I don't recall, but yeah, Sharon Osbourne and that camp didn't weren't too happy about that. And during one of the shows, I think it was at the tail end of that tour, uh, she basically hired people to egg Bruce Dickinson during the Iron Maiden's performance, and basically they were trying to gather as many people as they can to egg Iron Maiden. So one of them was the Trivium guys, who were back then they were like 19, 20. They were pretty young
Yeah.
back in
Matt
2005.
Heafy, I think, was like, dude, Matt Heafy, I think, was 16 when he would join that band or something like that. 16 or 17. I think I think he was that young when he joined them.
Yeah, so I mean, they were still teenagers. They didn't know any better. So, but they refused because like Maiden were their heroes apparently. It's so much like to the point where they actually covered Iron Maiden's The Trooper as some kind of act of defiance
Rebellion,
towards the Osborne.
defiance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were as a result bullied by that other camp, the Aussie camp, for refusing to do that. And Matt Heafy talks a lot about it, saying that they were mistreated for refusing to do that. But hey, in my opinion, I think he did the right thing. He didn't want to take part in the drama, and he stayed out of it. And
Yeah.
that's the professional thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's actually
yeah,
shows a lot of maturity.
exactly. I mean, and
It's
you're
very mature,
talking
especially
about
at their age. They were like young as well, so like it's very like mature of them to be like, no. I mean, but I see the point. Like they were their heroes as well. Like I'm sure, I don't want to speak like in like assumptions here, but I'm sure if it was another band, maybe they would have participated. If it was another band they didn't like, but because it's Iron Maiden and it was their heroes, maybe they like the maturity kicked in and they were like, no, no, we're not gonna do it.
maybe they're too afraid to mess with
Yeah, with
the
their
Maiden guys,
heroes.
huh?
Yeah, they were afraid to
Yeah,
mess with their heroes, but yeah, it's very, but like all in all, like both Bruce and like Sharon are both like completely immature in this scenario, and
yeah.
like these people were not young at that point, and I get, and while it's on brand for Sharon to do something like that, I don't know, I feel like it's very on brand. I'm not surprised by this,
Yeah.
um, but it's just stupid. It's just all around stupid, and and yeah, I mean, kudos for them for showing that level of maturity at that age.
But here's the thing, like here's the takeaway from this. These bands had to pay to be on Ozfest. So
Yeah,
it
what's up with
was
that?
like yeah, so I think because like Ozfest, it was the biggest thing, the biggest metal tour at the time, and for it was a big opportunity for any band to be on it.
Absolutely.
So imagine paying 30,000 to just to be on that tour and to have all of this drama surrounding you. Of course, I think the more the tour was successful, they managed to cover the costs. But yeah, that's it. That's insane.
Yeah, so basically bands, up and coming bands would pay to to like appear on the bill in big shows like Ozfest in order, and the idea is that they're paying because they're going to playing along, bigger bands, and they're going to get that exposure. So it's like an investment for them to, and I think maybe it paid off for a band like Trivium because like, dude, they were like one of the early pioneers and like one of the biggest early like metalcore bands during that Kill Switch Engage era, during that As I Lay Dying era. I don't know what else, Machine Head era, like during that, you know, that mid 2000s, early
Yeah,
2000s kind of era of metalcore.
yeah, and they became. I remember they were like I don't want to say overnight success, but they got pretty successful really early in their careers. Like
Oh yeah, yeah,
they've been everybody was talking about them back then.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they were. I don't know why I just remembered Shadows Fall. Do you remember Shadows Fall?
Oh yeah, man, I love Shadows Fall.
That was such a
That
great band. I wonder what they're up to now.
They reunited, from what I know, and I think they're working on a new album, but I have
What?
to double check.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, it'll be
the
interesting. I
singer
hope
with the
like,
dreads and
yeah, the guitarist, man. I remember like back then, like seeing that stuff on guitar was crazy for me, like. But, anyways, yeah, from yeah, those records were incredible. Like the Shadows Fall records were pretty amazing. But anyways, moving right along, another piece of weird copyrights related news. Thousands of music videos, including Nirvana and Smells Like Teen Spirits, removed from YouTube amid copyright dispute. Didn't this happen earlier, like with TikTok or something, like Universal or one of these like record, just labels, like took down a bunch of songs off of TikTok or something like that?
I did it.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't.
this happened a while back, and then it like got retro, whatever fitted, like whatever it got fixed. But anyways, so apparently a bunch of Nirvana songs got removed. Huh? Oh, and Kendrick Lamar and
Yeah,
Adele, Bob. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, Green
all
Day.
those
Wow.
big names, and this is due to like some, like there was a deal with with the company CSAC that expired, and that's the company that holds the publishing rights of those songs, those
Okay.
artists' songs, and they had a deal with YouTube, and it expired. They failed to renew their agreement, which led to many music videos being taken down. But I think this was only in the US. But still, that's like the biggest market maybe for those kind of for
Yeah.
those artists. So it's a big deal. And one of them is Smells Like Teen Spirit. But you also from like the rock, let's say genre, you have Nirvana, Green Day, Bob Dylan. But yeah, I mean those artists were affected. Even like never Smells Like Teen Spirit. That song has like a or that music video has like a billion streams from what I remember.
Yeah.
So you can imagine just the way it was impacted because of this.
I wonder what impact something like this has on. Well, I mean, first of all, like a band like Nirvana, for example, who's like making. Is it like Dave Grohl and his camp are still making like royalties off of this thing, and is it like are they getting affected by it, or you know, it's I wonder how much of an effect something like this has on the band or on the record label or something like that.
I mean, it's maybe it's a drop. I don't. Maybe it's a drop in the ocean for them because they still have
Yeah,
Spotify, other channels that they could rely on. But yeah, I mean, Dave Grohl. You're talking about Kurt Cobain's estate, probably Chris Novoselic, and the labels
yeah.
that were that signed them. So, but still, I mean, "Smells Like Teen Spirit" is probably one of those highly played videos, and it's gonna have some effect. You know what I mean?
Do you think this is like an employee like يعني واحد oh yeah, it
He
was
had
someone
one
like
job.
they had one job like and they had like a task in their like calendar or something and they forgot like to check it. They're like, okay, yeah, all right, so censorship, all right, checking YouTube, all right, yeah, we need to do these stupid ads, or oh man, I forgot the CSAC subscription, we need to renew that. And then like a bunch of videos go offline.
Well, maybe that guy is no longer an employee now. So
Probably got fired. Oh well. RIP. RIP employee that needed to renew the CSAC subscription. Oh man. Oh my god, these guys again. All right. So what's happening now with what's happening with Oasis? This is what like the third time we talk about them. Ticketmaster said
okay,
to ditch
your
dynamic
favorite
pricing as
band.
Oasis announces my favorite my favorite band to do an impression of. Ticketmaster set to ditch dynamic pricing as Oasis announces 5 new concert dates. Um,
Yeah.
I remember seeing something about how like because they intervened because they saw how much people were complaining about the pricing being too high,
Yeah.
and somehow they were in talks with like these ticket distributors to see how they can manage the pricing. I don't know if anything happened with that. So is this a result of that? Yeah, I think so, right? Like so they're kind of like the price is going to be normal now.
Yeah, so I think the prices are going to be fixed. It's not going to be it's not going to be under the dynamic pricing model. Uh, because the Oasis also just announced recently the US tour for this reunion tour, the US
Yeah.
leg of this tour. So yeah, it seems like the band are intervened and they're like, no, we don't want this to affect our image or whatever because yeah, everybody was super excited about this tour until there's they had to face this dynamic pricing
Yeah.
thing during the buying tickets and stuff. So you know what? I'd really love us to interview somebody who's in the ticketing industry to get to know more about this dynamic pricing thing and see what their perspective is on it. So if anybody out there is working in the ticketing industry, please reach out to us. Don't let us know. We'd like to. Okay, dude. Oh,
Sorry, technical issues here. One second.
no problem.
Hold on a second.
Oh man, this is like.
I'm keeping all this in, by the way. I'm not cutting this out.
Oh, you're not.
No,
This.
definitely not. I'm just gonna keep that in. But yeah, so yeah, anybody that's in the ticketing industry. So I would be interested in someone who's involved in the that's working for is Ticketmaster selling the Coldplay tickets for Dubai Abu Dhabi.
I'm sure. I'm
So
pretty sure they are.
I'll
So
be interested to see that because I saw a bunch of stories of people on my Instagram that were trying to buy the tickets and it was waiting lines and I don't know what. And I'm wondering if they have dynamic pricing set there as well, where people are ending up paying more than they should be paying.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the whole thing. I remember when Bruce Springsteen, uh, announced his tour last year.
Yeah.
That was his first tour since I don't know when, and it happened with Bruce Springsteen, and the tickets were going for literally more than $1,000, and fans were really annoyed.
Yeah. I'd be
And
annoyed.
yeah, but the logic behind it apparently is that this is a way to cut the middleman. In other words, scalpers. So this is a way to disallow scalpers from getting those tickets and gouging the prices and selling them, and you know what I mean, like for ridiculous amounts.
But that's
But
BS.
this,
That's what's happening. People are like buying
yeah,
these high value, like these really sought after popular concerts, buying the tickets and then setting their own prices, which is like like for in this example, people were paying apparently £200 more than the original price of the ticket. So I know it happened to me. I bought tickets for a Dillinger Escape Plan show, and I ended up paying $100 extra or $150 extra for that because a bunch of people just bought the tickets and then like ended up selling them at a higher price, and it allows you to do that. Live Nation allows you to buy tickets, and then if you want to sell them, you get to set your own prices and stuff. So and they get like a cut out of it, so they don't care. But like, yeah, it sucks.
yeah. Apparently, مو بس كده, the algorithms set those prices depending on the demand. Like the demand, the popularity, and other factors. So it's all there's an AI aspect to this that's controlling the prices apparently.
Yeah, that's
So
completely dumb and so anti music lovers and anti music fans and anti like people who enjoy music. Like it's just complete capitalist BS that is, people just want to make money off the back of people that want to go and have fun and enjoy music. It's incredibly annoying.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the consumer who's affected. But
Yeah.
even with the high prices, it's all the stakeholders that benefit from it. They're the ones who actually benefit from this. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's the consumer who's paying that money, and you have to. In countries like the US, I think in some venues you actually have to pay for parking and all of that as well. And so you end up paying other fees.
Yeah, there's like hidden fees like when you buy stuff from Ticketmaster or like it to مش عارف what is it? Something ridiculous like ticket processing fee or something like that or something like there's a fee in there that's like ridiculous, completely ridiculous and doesn't make sense, but where we all end up paying it for no reason.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I think going to Gink is slowly becoming like a luxury. But this is the same model, like the dynamic pricing thing is the same model that hotels and the airline industry use
Yeah. Yeah.
for prices, which is why summer tickets and stuff like that tend to be very high. So they're using that. The concert industry is using that as
Yeah.
well. So
No. All right. Well, Ticketmaster sucks. And Oasis, not no more dynamic pricing model. All right, great. All right, buddy. What you've been listening to this week?
this week I'm going a bit local.
Oh yeah, noticed.
Yeah, my choices were Sound of Ruby, Betamax, Sound of
Yeah,
Ruby, veteran, legendary Saudi-based band. released their newest album Betamax a
Hmm.
few days ago, and yeah, they're one of the OGs of the genre here since the 90s, I believe, and their new release alludes back to the video format that we used to watch back in our days, us
Betamax.
older.
I used to
Yeah,
have a VHS and a Betamax player.
yeah, good times.
Good
So,
times.
I mean, Sound of Ruby, never fails to make good music, and this is a fun record to listen to. They bring out their grunginess, their hard rock, flair on this. I really like this. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of there's a touch of humor to the songs that I appreciate. You know,
Yeah.
these guys are just in it to have fun. Obviously, you can tell they no zero pretensions. Yeah, overall, it's just a good record. It could be very loud and at times, and in a very grungy way. You know what I mean? That kind of style.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was a fun album to listen to, man.
Yeah. It's I also enjoyed this record. First of all, it was a very like it was a surprise drop. I did not expect that. I didn't know that they were. I knew that they were working on a release and they were recording songs, but so I wasn't aware that they were gonna drop one like it all of a sudden. But yeah, like you said, that like I appreciate the sense of humor. You know, songs like what was it, Datsun Man or something like that, the pickup truck. And then there's this one song where he's fighting with someone قاعد ضارب مع واحد يقول له اقلب وجهك وما ادري ايه وحل عني I don't know what. Like it's really funny. Um,
Yeah,
definitely the record is grunge 90s grunge era worship, right? So it's like
mm,
a lot of sounds in there that harken to Nirvana. And to me, all I hear, like, I'm really hearing like the Nirvana influence. And then, like, my favorite track on this album is the last song, which is
mm.
just called "Sound of Ruby," and that's like, um, it's a thick sounding track, and like, it really does remind me of something like like a Smashing Pumpkins early, like, you know, um, early Smashing Pumpkins material and like '90s era, like Smashing Pumpkins. So yeah, dope record. Yeah, for sure. Really enjoyed it.
Cool. And my next choice was Outlive, their new song "Come Alive." Another local band. You know, I would say another band that's seemingly heavily influenced by 90s grunge and alternative rock. Um, yeah, this is a decent track if you're into that kind of stuff. They're not really breaking new ground. It's kind of they're showing their love for the genre. I felt, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a pretty cool listen. Um, I don't know if it's part of a new album or not, but it's yeah, a lot of grungy music coming from our neck of the woods.
From the local scene. Yeah, I think this is like they've been very active recently, Outlive, and yeah, I don't know if they're releasing an album or if they're ramping up for an album, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I like I like the sound of it. I like the way it sounds. I remember I was really impressed with the with the production value of their music. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing other stuff from them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it from my end. What have you been listening to?
I've been listening to a couple of things. So uh, there's this there's this like modern metal band that I really like called Unprocessed. They have like this really crazy guitarist, and this band, you know, historically speaking, like I felt like their music was leaning too much on the wiggly technical stuff. Like a guitarist is trying to show off and show off his skills in music and fitting songs in there. And then last year they released a record that was really good. I forget what it's called now. It had like a long name, but like it had a really, it was a step in the right direction, and I felt like the technicality was serving music composition more than just showing off.
Yeah,
This I don't know if this is an EP or if they're releasing like a bunch of songs and it's like the Apple Music or is like putting them together into this thing where making it where you it makes you think it's an EP, but it's like this. Anyways, the song is called "Dark, Silent, and Complete," and it's. I love how aggressive that song is. I love how crazy it goes, um, and it's like it's pretty dynamic and it goes places. So it changes like from if you skip through the song you'll be like, what is this? Is the same song? But it's really cool, well written, some really interesting guitar chops in there, like stuff that you don't expect, and how fast and aggressive it goes. Really like it. It's a really cool example of what a new modern metal band sounds like, or if they want to do something interesting, um
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting record. To be honest, when I first listened to it, the heavy part in the beginning, I felt like it was a bit strange, even though there's a pretty insane bass tone there. But
yeah,
I liked more of the melodic parts, the more clean parts. You know what I mean? Those
yeah.
I felt like that was the better parts of the song.
It's their strong suit for sure. They know how to write like nice melodies and like with poppy sensibilities, because that's where they like that's the kind of where the guitarist comes from, right? They write pretty accessible like poppy sounding stuff and nice melodies.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, Black Dahlia Murder released their new record Servitude. Um, Mellow Death. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Some people are messaging me telling me they're not melodic death. They're metalcore. I don't know. Death. I don't know. Whatever you want to call them. Melodic death pioneers. One of the most hardworking and most like consistent bands in the melodic death metal camp. Just came out with this new record. I don't know how. This is what their like 10th record right this stage, a 12th record. I don't know. Like المهم إنه it's their newest record now without their singer that passed away a couple of years ago. Um, uh, so the guitarist of that band took place of the singer, and like they got another guitarist. Anyways, great record. Really enjoyed it. Black Dahlia Burner is one of my favorite bands. And one of my favorite records of all time was released by the Black Dahlia Murder on Hollowed. This record is great. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It has some pretty good, catchy parts in there. They really lean into writing groovy death metal, modern kind of sounding stuff. Um, Interesting melodies as well, and amazing guitar chops. Like the solos, the riffs, the kind of the verses and stuff like that they write are incredibly technical and intricate and complex, and yeah, it's pretty cool. But I don't know. I'm feeling quite average about it. I don't know. I'm not like blown away by it or anything like that, which is, I don't know. I guess because they were one of my favorite bands, so I was expecting more. But it's good. It's not bad at all. It's really good.
Yeah.
Other
No,
than
this
that,
was I listened to some songs, man. And, I have to listen to it more, to be honest. But I listened to some songs, and I enjoyed the guitar work more than anything. Like that was I felt the highlight. Very
exactly.
well
I mean,
written
that's for me. That was the
guitar.
highlight of the record. It's the like guitar chops in there that were really good. I'll tell you something though. There's another
Mm.
band that I've been listening to this week that released a new record. Okay, called Undeath. Okay, they released a record called More Insane. And
Mm.
what's funny is that they released a better Black Dahlia Murder record than Black Dahlia Murder, in my opinion. I don't know. Like I was listening to that record. So Undeath is a New York-based death metal band, and like the past couple of records they released are basically a love letter to the old school death metal sound, right? So you listen to those records, production wise, writing wise, composition wise, everything. Like it's just you feel like you're listening to a death metal record from the I don't know from the '90s or something, Um, um, this record ups the production value a little bit, ups the technicality a little bit as well. It becomes a bit more technical, and there's a bit of some melodies in there. There are some melodies in there as well that kind of reminds you of a bit of like a Black Dahlia Murder sounding record, which is like Really, if you think about it, it's more like at the gates kind of sounding a record. But in any case, it doesn't go to that extent where it is completely melodic or as technical, maybe at the Black Diamond, but they're going there. They're getting there, and I kind of really appreciate this record for, adding like a new diverse sound to the band's repertoire. And the record is pretty incredible, actually. It has some really groovy songs, some pretty catchy songs, pretty aggressive and heavy as well. But it doesn't do the blast beat thing as much as you'd think it would for a death metal record, where it goes like really fast and like stuff like that. No, it's just it's an old school death metal band, so like the technicality is not like it doesn't go into that tech death, territory. But it's really incredible record, disgusting artwork, but incredible record. Definitely recommend listening to it.
Yeah.
Finally, this is an interesting band. So, Show Me the Body is a band that I've always heard the name of, but I've never actively seeked out or went to listen to them. I don't know. I assumed that they would be like a run of the mill, like, I don't know, metalcore band or something like that because of the name. Or I think maybe because I confused them with another band that has like something body in the name. I think there's another band called Bury the Body or something like that. Anyways, so this you get confused, as LA Dying, one of those
Hold on.
dying bands, that
Bury the body, show me the body. Imagine if those two bands toured.
it's like you're going to see Show Me the Body. Is that the shit? Bury the body or Show Me the Body? Excavate the body. Leave the body alone. I don't know, man. There's too many. There's too many bands with these kind of names. It's like also As I Lay Dying and
Yeah.
I don't know, like all these bands like have these dying in their name. Every Time I Die, As I Lay Dying. Although I really love Every Time I Die. Anyways, so this band is called Show Me the Body. Okay, and I recommend, like, they are a very experimental band, and this is like I remember a couple of days, like a week ago, I think I posted like making fun of artists that put experimental in their name as an excuse for sounding like garbage. Um, but this is like really a good example of a band that is experimental, but in a good way, right? So like you listen to this record, and it has elements of punk, hardcore, hip hop. I don't know what else, industrial. It's pretty incredible, actually. Like it's an incredible listen. It's a double EP, so like one EP is like, I don't know, like 4 songs, and the other one's 4 songs or something like that. But yeah, definitely worth the listen if you're into like experimental music and you want to listen to something different.
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting album. I was pretty surprised by the hip hop elements and those things. It's but on the darker side as well. Not really. You know what I mean? Like for some reason, it reminded me a bit of Death Grips, but
I
these
was about to
guys,
say, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, if you like that kind of stuff, you might enjoy this. But yeah, it's like the dark side of hip hop, the dark side of like maybe punk and hardcore. It just has this grimy feel to it. No, I don't mean grime by that the UK hip hop genre, but just in the descriptive sense.
Yeah, it's. I
Uh,
think it has a lot to do with the way it sounds as well. Like it sounds like as if it was recorded in the worst possible way, in the worst possible way ever. But it still holds up. Like in terms of like production value, it sounds fine. It's just like it has that, like you said, like grimy, dirty kind of sound to it. And it works. It's really nice. It's a really cool record. The opening track is really cool. I really enjoyed it, and obviously the rest of the album as well. But yeah, definitely worth listening to. Um, but yeah, otherwise that's it in terms of stuff that we're listening to. Let's talk about some of the stuff we want to highlight for this week, right? The things that really stood out for us this week in terms of music. And I'm going to go ahead and let you start here, Mansoor. Um, what you got? I think you wanted to highlight Slope this week, right?
yes, absolutely. Slope dropped a new single called Fury Funk, and it's a pretty good song. I mean, earlier this year they released their album Freak Dreams, which is one of my favorite albums of the year.
Hmm.
So a few days ago, they dropped this new single, and it's still right up there with their latest album, which is great from start to finish. I felt it's a funk metal record. It's if it alludes back to that kind of late '80s, early '90s sound from bands like Infectious Grooves and Primus, and even earlier Red Hot Chili Peppers. So this is a pretty fun, track to listen to. Very, very riff based and groovy, and kind of they have this whole thing where their music is kind of dancey in a way, in the sense that it's very funky to the point where it makes you want to dance. So I really love this track, and I had the chance to see them live, and it's to promote their current tour, which is called the Fury Funk Tour. So yeah, do check them out. Slope is a fantastic band from Germany, and when I saw them, their show was just fantastic. It was a pretty small, intimate venue, and there's something about seeing a band that is just up and coming and early in their career. They're full of youth and energy, and it's just there's something special about seeing a band that is just in that part of their career. So yeah, it's a fantastic record.
Yeah,
Heavy riffs, groovy bass, and drumming, just
yeah,
fun. Their whole thing is they're against the 9 to 5 thing, and more about like pursuing your dreams, your passion, and all. That's the message behind their music,
yeah,
which is pretty interesting.
yeah. I completely like got a Faith No More meets Red Hot Chili Pepper meets a little bit of Primus, but not as quirky or as weird. Just like straight up funk metal. It's as if they it says these guys like are obviously like I feel like they've listened to the Red Hot Chili Peppers and they were like, what if they were heavier, you know? And
Yeah, and they have two vocalists, and they're like rapping and stuff like that. So there's that Beastie Boys kind of feel to it as well.
yeah, there you go, and that's another like kind of feel to it. It's very interesting. I you know it, I didn't expect it to go as heavy as I thought it would, and I don't know. Like it's been a while since I listened to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I used to be like a really big fan of their records, but I don't know if like I have room right now to listening to to listen to a funk based metal band. But I did go like and start listening to some of the discography here, and this record is actually like the one that I don't know for some reason I ended up listening to, and it's actually they used to be like a
Mm.
hardcore, like a straight up hardcore band. Like they used to be a straight up hardcore like punk band, like not without any like funk rapping and funk and stuff like that. And it seems like they made at
Yeah,
some point the switch, I guess, huh?
yeah. I think they found their sound already in their
Yeah,
with the rap metal, funk metal thing.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool. It's interesting. Definitely. Yeah, definitely worth listening to if you want to listen to something very dancey, like you said. Very, you know, I mean, it's funk at the end of the day, right? It's funk metal, so there's funk in it, and it's very groovy at the end of the day.
Yep.
Century Media Records. Cool. Definitely worth listening to. So I've been listening to this new Heriot record, and honestly, uh, it's one of the coolest records I've listened to this year. Right. So
Mhm.
it's gonna be. This is definitely one of those records. I'm gonna say it now. Is gonna be in my top 5 or something like that for the end of the year. I don't know if that will change. It depends. Your taste changes as also records come out, but it's such a great record. It's such a heavy record as well. Tonally, it's right up my alley. It has that like aggressive chainsaw tone that I really like, and I appreciate it. If you've listened to the recent Nails record, then you know what I'm talking about, right? That's the kind of guitar tone that they have
Yep.
there. But sound wise, they're a bit different. They lean towards more of a metalcore, metallic, hardcore kind of sound. Um, that also has a bunch of different influences, right? So this record, one of the things I really appreciate about it is that it has a lot of range. So it mixes industrial elements as well in there. So there are songs in there that gives you like this Chelsea Wolf, uh, typo negative kind of sound. It's weird. It's incredible. Like it sounds amazing, and the record like goes, jumps between those kind of different sounds, like the aggressive metallic hardcore kind of like metal sound with aggressive like growling and screeching, to like nice open not operatic, but like open kind of very um I don't want to say shoegazy because that gives kind of an impression of a certain sound, but like that kind of ambient, sorry, ambient industrial kind of sounding alternative rock or metal, whatever you want to call it. So
Hmm.
really really cool record. The one of the members in there, like there's two singers in this band, like one of them is growling and one of them is more like female singing and stuff like that, or female actually screeching and growling as well, but like because of that it adds like a an interesting dynamic to the band's sound as well. um Definitely worth checking out. It's my pick for this week for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
um that's it for us in terms of highlights for this week. As promised, we're keeping it short and simple. So
Yep.
you guys need to go listen to the records and listen to the things that we've been listening to, and come back and tell us what do you think. Isn't that
Yeah.
right?
If you have any music recommendations, let us know.
All right. So with that being said, any last words, Mansoor, before we wrap this mother up?
Thanks, guys, for listening. We'll see you next week. We promise we'll have more topics to talk about and more interviews to do. So check it out.
Yeah. Hopefully next week we'll have a guest. Um, and it seems like you guys enjoy when we have guests on the show, so we'll try to arrange for one. If you guys have any recommendations, or if you want to see someone in particular, if you want us to talk with someone in particular, please put it in the diddly do chat down there, and let's hear what you have to say. But in any case, thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next week.
Have a good one.
Bye bye.